All right, welcome everybody to the much awaited draft here of Game 2. Apologies for the delays getting into the second match. Apparently, Riot's API has been having a few issues with tournament codes of late, but we are winging it and going on the fly with some custom game action for y'all, so don't worry, we'll be able to finish out the series for sure. The second game, will have York over on blue side, who are coming in the victors from game one, needing only one more victory to finish out the series for themselves, and Ottawa, who are clinging for life to a second potential victory here to stay in the series on red side. My name is Octavian. I am joined here by the illustrious Rapid Casting. It's going to be helping me out with a bit of color casting today, and let's get down into the picks and bans.
All right, so already seeing some reaction to that last game. We're going to see that Ziggs AD carry taken off the board. And while now Ottawa are forced to ban that Lee Sin pick, means that, Zariabs will not be able to pick that for himself. It's not going to be in DaBaby's hands, and I think we can all be a little bit happier about that. Also taking the Rise off the board, Ottawa going full reactionary with all of their bans, whereas on the other side, just taking off the map some very strong power picks. However, one big change, Octavian, that is going to differ is the lack of a Rengar ban. And there it is.
Oh, man.
First picks.
And DaBaby was the one who was bearing the torch at the front of the charge for York last game. He was 8-1 or 8-2, a pretty impressive scoreline at the end of the last match. I can't remember the exact numbers. I just recall being awed by some of the Lee Sin damage that he was putting out. And, Rengar isn't really known for his lack of damage, so I'm excited to see what DaBaby does with this champ for sure. Syndra and Rek'Sai, though, are two pretty powerful picks that are going to be here in answer for the side of Ottawa.
Yeah, now with the Rengar pick, that does telegraph a lot. He is a champion that enjoys diving in, building damage, and great ways to deal with that are to pick great disengaged champions. So things like Zyra, really good at dealing with that. Maybe she dies, but she at least kills the Rengar by locking him down when he dives in. Another great opportunity is things like Lulu. We got a chance to see Lulu's support, and granted that was into a Malzahar in EULCS yesterday, but still, the idea is there. There's ways to counter this out. However, the next two picks are actually super interesting for me. We only do have 3 bans on each side, but we're going to see an Echo picked up here, along with a Jinx, much maligned AD carry.
Yeah, Jinx is rather odd, but Chake was able to pull off something rather odd last game in the form of the Ziggs ADC, or APC, however you want to refer to that. Echo, though, makes a bit of sense to me. A lot of mid laners who are starting to get a read on the current meta of Syndra LeBlanc mid lane have been saying that Echo is something that's really powerful into the Syndra pick because he's a little too mobile to lock down. Of course, Echo ult is really valuable against unleashed power. Being able to chrono break backwards and just basically nullify the ult is super strong. And he's got enough damage to solo out the 1v1 himself. So I do like the Echo pick. It can be a little rough going through the laning phase, but my God, we've got more things to talk about. Go
Okay,
ahead,
so
Rapid.
the Blitzcrank lock-in is specific here. You actually saw the Blitzcrank banned in game number 1, wasn't banned here in game 2, and that's a big power pick here. York are going to get Scrander's main champion when he comes to support. His Blitzcrank is literally off the hook. So we're going to see how that works out in the bottom lane for them. They've also got the Jace locked in as well for some top lane power. That's going to be going up against Corey, who we saw play his most played champion second most played champion in that in the Alawi in the last game. This time around, we're going to see something a little bit more standard, going for the Poppy, and really just across the board, the lineup here for Ottawa looks completely standard. Nice, solid picks.
Yeah, I am going to be keeping a very close eye on bottom lane this game because I feel like it's going to be highly explosive with a Blitzcrank being picked into 2 very squishy, rather immobile champions down there. But we're going to have to wait until we get into the actual match for that. So give us just a moment here, folks. We're going to get through, and I'll toss it to Rapid to plug some of our wonderful sponsors, and then we'll get right into the game.
Yeah, I actually need to plug all of our wonderful sponsors. And don't think of it as plug, as advertising. These are actually just the people that help us out, giving you some of the best ULoL Campus Series action that, you're getting your money's worth, basically, is what I'm saying, because these guys are who help us out. I already shouted out Band Gaming, but if you have not checked them out, you can do that at band.us/home. So just band.us. It's a way to get together with your friends, coordinate, organize. They've got voice chat. You can just get your friends together in the Band Gaming app, and it helps you guys play together a little bit more easily. So you definitely go check them out and say thank you for making this stream possible. Of course, the stream that you are watching is here on Twitch TV. They have partnered with us once again, so we do want to extend our gratitude to the largest streaming platform in gaming, helping us support collegiate esports from PAX East and West and many more events that they've done with the CSL. Definitely, we would not be what we are today without help from Twitch TV. So just be on the lookout for some cool opportunities to get involved with Twitch coming up in the near future, and make sure to show them some love by checking them out at twitter.com/Twitch, and of course, Twitch on Facebook as well. And last but not least, we're proud to be joined once again by Asus here at the CSL family for the 2016-17 season. They provide pretty much everything from esports, from all their wonderful products such as monitors, laptops, routers, graphics cards, motherboards, and I can't even think of anything else to say, so that's about it. But make sure that you guys check them out and share some love with Asus, because they're definitely helping us share this ULoL campus series with you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into our second game in this best of 3 series. It's 1-0 so far, and we'll see if Ottawa can pull things back here as we get into game number 2.
Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
We turn our backs, we can't help, we're gone. This is our identity.
Alrighty, would you look at that, everybody? We've got some League of Legends on our hands, and here to help you get through it, to guide you through the twists, turns, and strange little corners of this match is myself, Octavian, and alongside on this imaginary desk with me, Rapid Casting, who's going to be providing color commentary while I shout a lot about video games. We've got a 5-man stack, though. Flash forward from Scrandor, and the shouting begins already as I just get the overlay all set up.
Yeah, what a way to get into the game, Octavian. Here we being blown, trading support flash for an 80 carry flash. I'm going to call that worth, mostly just because this is what Scrander does. I can't count how many games, at least if I'm remembering the same player as before, start that way. It's just like flash blitzcrank hook. You get into a spot, you can make that happen. He's all too willing to go for that trade. So that means that Victor Cow will be a little bit more vulnerable when it comes to the first few ganks of the game. Have to keep an eye on that bottom lane as we get through our second interesting start to the match. So excited to see more Blitzcranks here. It is the Blitzcrank, so you don't get a chance to see that skin all that often just because that hook is kind of difficult to see sometimes, but we'll see how many he has the opportunity to land here in game number 2.
And I gotta say, I'm equally excited for the champion choice that York has made coming out of the jungle, as I am for their champion choice in support. DaBaby is, according to Rapid here, and I trust this man, renowned for his Rengar play, and Rengar play overall is something we just don't see enough of. So, excited to see how this pans out. And I think it's going to be pretty critical as well to the way the game sort of develops and evolves, how it pans out, because Rengar is such a crucial crux to a team if he is picked. You kind of have to build around him.
Yeah, just to clarify, DaBaby's primarily a Lee Sin player. I haven't checked out any Rengar games from him just yet, but the idea is still there. Very good at getting these early advantages, snowballing them with very aggressive champions. So Rengar definitely fits that MO to a T. Also just one of the strongest junglers out there right now. Consistently banned, but mid lane, whoa, already the action heating up.
Yeah, Acekin living up to his name, going all in there for the trade with open backpack. I can't really say attempted kill, as he did begin to back out at the end, so maybe he wasn't quite living up to his name. But Harry Zeri's going to be finishing out his jungle clear as Ace King continues to maintain something of a semblance of control of this lane. But open backpack is doing just fine, holding even in CS as well, if not a little bit ahead.
Yeah, nothing too crazy early on. Top lane, though, those trades are actually going crazy.
Oh, man.
Shifu versus Corey.
Corey, one more minion auto was all it took, and it's first blood to Ken Shifu. That is a turnaround from what last game's top lane looked like. Acekin tumbling away with the phase dive. I don't think he's in much danger here, though. He just has to go back home.
Wow. And yeah, actually, I'm going to have to check and see if Ken Shifu did have that dangerous game up there, because it was a very dangerous game. He was playing that last minion auto attack. Definitely the MVP of that 1v1. We're about to see another one here between DaBaby and Harry Zeri. If they decide to pick that fight, looks like they will back off for the time being.
And meanwhile, the lane, which we anticipated being most explosive, has had little to no action yet, but you know, it's only a few minutes in. I'm just very greedy for action, and it looks like I'm going to get what I'm asking for as Scrandor is going aggressively for the hook here onto Victor Cow. He knows he doesn't have that flash available. DaBaby, though, whiffing on the bola there may have caused the difference, actually, as Victor Cow gets out with barely any health.
Yeah, I would like to point, DaBaby going forward, trying to get the damage down. Will we see any more pickoffs? No, Yuyu safe for now. Wow, this bottom lane is something I'm always just going to keep flicking back to, because we're going to see some craziness here. It's all up to Scrander and his crazy hooks, and it looks like he's already keeping the action high. Just wanted to clarify, Ken Shifu, I don't believe is running...
Whoa! Ken Shifu is running aggressively is what he's doing, and he's going to claim a kill. This is some revenge for the way that top lane panned out last match.
Wow. Okay, yeah, he is definitely putting the shoe on the other foot, if you want to talk about it being that way. Ken's running Greenfather's Gift and Not Dangerous Game, so just wanted to point that out, so there's no extra healing there, just barely surviving. But yeah, this is definitely his revenge time, putting Corey in the ground twice in a row. And this is really what you have to do. Poppy's scaling is insane. So you have to either just dominate her in lane and put her so far behind that as the game goes on, she just can never recover from that. And Ken's doing a great job at that. 2 kills already early on, and things might just have gotten too far for Corey to just stabilize in lane.
Yeah, and this is a much more promising start to the game than last time around for the side of York, who ended up being the victors last time around. So coming out with a good start in top lane, which is really their only weakness, doesn't look great for the side of Ottawa, who are hanging on the brink of defeat here, 1 match down in a best-of-3 series.
Whew. All right. Well, we've seen action in pretty much every lane, but one thing that we haven't really seen come into play, Octavian, has been the junglers, and that's something DaBaby really sort of made his mark in game number 1 with. So definitely gonna have to keep an eye. Another hook misses there for Scrander. And in case you guys are wondering, why don't we see Blitzcrank? He's my favorite champion. Well, his mana costs and his just base mana are just not quite what they used to be. So he's got like 2, 3, 4 hooks in there, and then he's basically So wow, mid lane, lots of action and aggression.
Yeah, another full engage from Ace King, but Open Backpack was about able to avoid the parallel convergence stun, and Ace King is still missing his all-important chrono break, so he doesn't want to fully engage just yet. And yeah, it's really just the nature of Blitzcrank being such a binary champion, amplified really by his mana costs. If he whiffs, he is in a really, really bad spot, but if he lands the shot, he's in a great spot, and that sort of inconsistency doesn't lend itself well to high-level play very often.
All right, keeping an eye on the map for now. High level play all about being consistent. Maybe you lose a game, maybe you lose 2 games, but as long as overall your win rate is above 50%, you are basically amazing. So congratulations there. So really what we're looking for right now is going to be consistency from the junglers and seeing whether or not they can make this one happy, or would make this one happen. Harry Abs, Zeri Abs, Harry Zeri, always very well renowned for his Rek'Sai play, very well known for just crushing with that champion, so glad he's on a comfort pick. But on the other side, still have yet to see this Rengar really get off the ground. We're gonna see Rek'Sai tunnel through, so Ken's gonna be in a lot of trouble here.
Yeah.
Kori might be the one about to go down.
Yeah, Ken just needs one more auto here, and he is going to find it. At the very worst, trading 1-for-1, and Harry Zeri actually tossing out that Prey Seeker, claims the kill for himself. Maybe a little unfortunate for Kori, who definitely needs an avenue back into this lane. As Victor Cow gets hooked backwards. We've got action in the bottom lane. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Rapid, but action does not wait as we have the first gank from DaBaby, and it's a big one. Victor Cow goes down. Oh, but there's a kill into the Jinx as well. It's a 1-for-1 trade, not actually terrible.
DaBaby has to escape the Janus and the Storm's Wrath down here.
Oh man, those little feather auto attacks. Not exactly threatening.
But I am used to seeing down here now.
Syndra, though.
In a lot of trouble.
Syndra, though, is a bit more dangerous, and it's a flash forward for the Unleashed Power. Open Backpack gets an easy kill.
Hashtag Syndra mechanics right there. Flash R, good buttons to press. An Open Backpack will open his backpack and receive his first kill of the game. So nice to see action really starting to heat up across the map. We do have Rek'Sai, Harry Zeri, not in that fight, but he's still getting advantages, stealing away that blue buff and the Gromp for good measure. And he might even be looking for another tunnel to maybe try to get this top lane going back in Ottawa's favor.
So Open Backpack returning to the mid lane, lays down a bit of harass, and Harry Zeri is returning to the top lane for a bit of a gank. With the double buff running, that recently stolen blue as well, he's going to easily be able to claim the kill into Ken Shifu, who's starting to lose the lead, which he so explosively garnered in the first few minutes.
Yeah, this is what we got a chance to see last game from Kori. You get that early advantage, and then you overextend. You don't respect these jungle gank paths. Now mid lane Open Backpack.
He's missing the flash because of that earlier roam, and he did not anticipate Ace King being in that bush. He was actually going to ward right then and there. Now Ace King may find himself in another 1v1, one that he might not be so keen on, but I think with Chrono Break he'll have enough health to make it out.
Victor.
And Victor Cow roaming to the mid lane takes a very dangerous path. These side bushes in the mid lane have been such death traps for Ottawa over the last few minutes, as Harry Zeri has to back out over the corpses of his fallen friends.
Yeah, that is bad pathing by Victor Cow. Not only just walking into an unwarded bush, but into a bush that has Rengar nearby. Gonna have a bad time there, so pretty deserving of that death. It was a good idea on the roam because he knew that it was gonna be cool to show up mid and maybe have an assisting presence there, but you gotta have some support when you do that, or at least ward coverage to not walk into Rengar. Because important to note, like Rengar, his passive, his Bone Tooth Necklace doesn't quite work like it used to. It now stacks up for each unique champion that he kills. He's gonna get an additional % bonus attack damage off of that, as well as some flat AD there as well. So he starts to stack that up on too many different champions. You have a bad time. Victor Cow still gonna get jumped on here, but it's Yu taking the damage.
Yeah, Curtain Call comes down. This might be the final act for DaBaby, who's incredibly dangerously low, and Kori's actually vaulting over the wall with Scrandor, as their plan of escaping by means of Blast Cone sort of backfires. I don't think Kori can continue the chase here, but he does claim himself a kill, and that'll help him get out of the hole that he was dug into top lane.
Yeah, nice mechanics there. Poppy mechanics are definitely a thing when it comes to getting those flash heroic charges off, especially because he was on such a tight timer as that blast cone was about to give the clutch escape there to York, who now are facing a much more even spot compared to where they were in game number 1. Really just big plays being made across the map. The things that were so strong for them in game 1, like the baby's Lee Sin, well, you take away his main champion. Things are not quite going according to plan. However, we do still see that consistency. Ace King all in the mid lane, and at least that is working well.
Yeah, and speaking of Ace King, a really nicely timed Chrono Break is going to claim him another kill, but the Unleashed Power at the last moment means it's a 1-for-1 trade. Ken Shifu now... Oh, man! Harry Zeri getting tossed backwards like so much dirty laundry, but he won't quite go down to the turret. Meanwhile, bottom lane, a flash in for Scrander, the guaranteed knockup, the hook to follow up, a silence. Victor Cow just denied any chance at doing anything, having any sort of say in that fight, and the turret will fall as well for first brick gold over to the side of York.
Okay, well, this is York starting to get that snowball rolling. Another stack on Rengar's Bone Tooth necklace. The first turret of the game for that extra bonus gold. First brick, first turret blood, whatever you want to call it. That's going to go York's way, as well as his Cloud Drake. So just going from one objective to another. Really beautiful to see the way that York is starting to snowball this. Now, it is still much more even game than game number 1, but this is the way that you stop that from happening.
And interestingly enough, there actually are quite a few parallels to be drawn to game number 1, but sort of in reverse. We've got a top lane that started out really, really well for one side and then sort of petered out. Except this time it's Ken Shifu who's petering out with continual pressure from Harry Zeri. Kori slamming him up against the wall there, but getting tossed back under the turret. Ken Shifu gets the kill. The ult flies wide, and here's Scrandor in the top lane coming to the aid at the last moment of the Jason. Harry Zeri has to scuttle away with his tail between his legs.
I gotta point out, by way of analysis, a little bit of a shout out to all people who are like, during preseason, were like, "Oh my goodness, plants are going to."
Oh, Rapid.
The super cool things that are happening. Blast cone right there. Such an interesting mechanic because you know both teams know that it's there, so it's equalized at least in that respect. But it's the way that you use it that makes it so cool. Harry Zeri using it to get himself out of a rough spot, and we've seen cool escapes and gank paths open up because of that. I actually really love it. So one of my favorite new mechanics to the game, at least here in Season 7, and helping Zeri get out alive there in that top lane situation. But overall, yeah, the strong gets stronger here. York firing on all cylinders, 10-6 right now, but it's not just about the kills, it's about what they're doing with them.
Yeah, and they are leading in objective play, even if by not a crushing amount yet. They've got that first turret gold, they've got the first Drake, which admittedly is only a Cloud Drake, so it's not too terrible, but is still rather nice. And they've just all in all been playing a slightly cleaner game of League of Legends. Harry Zeri has sort of responded to Ken Shifu getting out of hand by being top lane very, very frequently, which has allowed the rest of the map to kind of get a little bit out of hand, or out of claw, I suppose. And that sort of responsive play isn't matching as well against the proactive play that we're seeing from York as Ace King having to react down to the bottom side, phase dives out, and actually makes it away.
Well, Ghost being
possibly.
used to your open backpack.
Possibly doesn't. Backpack is chasing Flash. Flash at the last moment from Ace King. The Ghost is going to run out. Yep. I think he made
Unleashed Power still used there. Ace King survives with under 50 health. So just barely making it out of there, and that's going to set up for DaBaby coming in, picking up his third stack on that Bone Tooth necklace.
Scat of the Week just tossing him further back into a bush, which really didn't accomplish that much. He's a very jumpy kitty. And yeah, as you say,
need to come out with like a tiger skin for Rengar. That's what Rengars do best, is jump on you out of bushes, bouncing around, and certainly DaBaby has been doing quite a bit of that this game. Actually, even going forward, putting that bonus damage. He's going deep underneath the turret on the Harry Zeri. He's trying to tunnel away.
There's the tunnel away, but Harry Zeri gets chased down, hunted, and murdered. The Knife Cat claims a kill. Meanwhile, top lane Ken Shifu, without the attention of the jungler, is starting to roll once more, and it's a double kill for Rengar with the assistance of a hook over the wall, and DaBaby will gladly donate a blue buff over to Ace King.
Wow, and now that is 4 stacks on this bone tooth necklace, almost 200 attack damage, Octavian, on that Rengar. That's almost 40 over what Jinx has right now. So, I mean, the baby, out of nowhere, really, going from like a 1-2 score to a 4-2 score. Gotta say, starting to get scarier and scarier as this game might get out of control. Ottawa, with a strong start, now starting to find a lot of weaknesses.
And this is the last resort here for Ottawa. They are 1-0 down in the series for anybody just joining us. So if they falter here, they falter at least for the rest of the series. There is quite a bit of the regular season to get through yet, and I'm sure that they'll have a rematch at some point. But flash forward from Korea, and it looks like Ottawa want to take this match back into hand, but that may not have been the way to do it, as a hook onto Uop pulls him back into the danger zone. There's the ulti from Chake halfway down the lane, zooming him in now with the Get Excited passive to donate some damage to this team fight, as Kouri, now getting chased off and alone from the rest of his team, will be easily turned into mincemeat. Ken Shifu is dominating there, with DaBaby leaping to the back lines, looking for another pick, but scattering to the winds. Ottawa is not going to give up any further kills. At least, maybe not yet.
So, correct me, whoa, the big flash!
There's the flash for the hook! I spoke too soon. Scrander claims a life.
Grander. I told you, Octavian, starting even from level 1, going for the flash play and taking Victor Cow's flash away, he's all about making that happen. And that's exactly what we saw right there. More than willing to just go for the big hook, and when it lands, it looks good. Open backpack, getting closed on there, and he is taken down for the 4th time this game. Gotta say, Scrander, really, really glad that we can now see his super secret agent score put up there, 007. He is certainly looking like he has all the tools that he needs to help lead the rest of his team to victory. Now 17-6. He's been a part of 7 of those kills.
And it's just looking worse and worse for Ottawa, who, now that we're out of the laning phase, are starting to lose their footing. I mean, I guess you could say they started to lose their footing a little while ago, and now they've well and truly begun to fall. But do you see a way back into this one for them, Rapid? With your analytical mind, is perhaps some picks here onto Chake, or a skirmish up on the top side? Are these the paths?
Our buttons are one way to get back into the game. Looking for a knock up there. Harry's there. He's got the damage.
That is a great shutdown. That is exactly who they needed to kill, as Ken Shifu retreats with his jungler in pieces behind him, and they're going to lose a turret. So they may have just answered my question. The question I posed to you, it looks like Ottawa has answered it for you, my friend.
Yeah, they were listening 3 minutes ago. They're like, well, we kind of need a way back into this. 2 kills into the top lane turret. They pick up the first turret, and they take out 2 of the strongest members on York. So Ottawa firing back. They might even get this second turret. Ken Shifu, a little bit of a rough spot, force the flash away from the second tier turret, and indeed it will go down.
Meanwhile, though, we should keep an eye on bottom lane, but maybe keep an eye on there a little bit later, as Victor Cow is almost getting soloed by Scrandor. Thankfully, Janna was there to body block the Mega Death Rocket, and not so thankfully for the Jace, Ken Shifu gets caught out trying to defend while the rest of his team looks for some picks. There's the curtain call as well. Scrandor's life is likely forfeit unless he can get back behind his team, but he does not make it in time, and the third bullet even is enough to claim his life. Now Chake getting hunted down by Harry Zeri. Not much of a match for the out-of-control Rek'Sai, as DaBaby claims an easy kill, but it may be a small consolation prize on the back of a fight that has gone relatively poorly, actually, for York.
Yeah, York are just kind of falling apart, funneling in one by one. This is not the game that they want to be playing. It's not the game that they have been playing, and now DaBaby trying to get out of here. It's not going to happen, man. He's trying to get...
He's leading him on a wildcat chase.
Over and over again. Nope, our button's hard to get away from. That's gonna be that one, but just like filing a single file.
Yeah. Why is Ken Shifu coming back into the fight is simply going to be reacquainted very quickly with the gray screen.
I mean, I know cats are... Wait, is it cats or dogs that are colorblind? I think it's dogs that are colorblind, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well, I mean,
More
this
learning.
is a cat that's colorblind here, because he's been seeing gray for the last, like, I don't know, minute, 2 minutes. This is really confusing to watch, Octavian. We've seen dominating play, great coordination, York just firing on all cylinders. Well, they might need a little bit of a tune-up to get their engine back and running at full speed, because you got to regroup at this point. It's only 20 minutes in. They're in a great spot. Just chill. Like, take some time off, smell the roses, and regroup, because walking in single file is not getting it done.
Yeah, maybe go visit your summer home down in the Dragon Pit for a little bit to relax. Looks like that's the plan, as vision control over the Dragon Pit is becoming an object of contention here. It is an Ocean Drake, would be rather nice for either team to get. And we have first to the punch here, the side of Ottawa.
Yeah, Ottawa there ahead of time. It's only an Ocean Drake, but it will help them as far as sustaining through any poke damage that's coming their way.
The answer
They're
is a
able to
push,
get themselves on a board.
Yeah, the answer is a push down the mid lane as Ace King is playing interference for his team, but there's the engage from the Jhin. Scrandor, not exactly the target they want. They're gonna not quite commit that hard to it as DeBaby's coming in from the back line. Huey up, has to burn the Monsoon, but he's happy with trading his ult for the Rengars, I'm sure. Ace King now all in, as his moniker says. Open backpack gets a rampage with a swift press of the R button, though, and a flash forward. They are claiming the life of DeBaby. Open backpack may yet go down. One kill traded back for York, but this is still looking much, much messier than some of the previous fights they've been in. And it's so messy, it's still going on. Jay trying to peel back for Scrandor. With that red buff, he may just be able to kite hard enough, but Scrandor flashing away is going to find a face full of Rek'Sai. Even after flashing, he goes down, Chake will fall, and it's just Ace King remaining for the side of York, but not remaining for very much longer.
And that's going to be the full ace for 2. Octavian, these team fights are just looking better and better for Ottawa. And at this point, going for Baron's a little bit risky. I mean, Zeri's probably taking it up to make this one happen. But all I'm trying to say is Ken could definitely come back in a big way and stop this Baron from going down. It's still got about 3k HP as Jace comes in.
This is getting dangerously close to the wire here. The Jhin is almost eliminated. Harry Zeri does manage to claim the Baron, and it's only 1 kill traded back. That's perfectly fine.
Wow, okay, yeah, remarkably fine. Didn't catch if Yui got the Baron buff. No, did not spawn quickly enough for that. Of course, Corey won't have it either. That's still Baron on 3, and of course that global gold goes to everyone. So, gotta say, Ottawa really doing a great job, not only able to pick these kills up off of single file team fight style, but also getting the buff, the objective off the board, and Baron is in their hands, or at least in the hands of 3 of them. Gotta say, this is, as the song says, this is how a heart breaks. If you're a York fan, you might thought you were getting an easy 2-0, but gotta take it slow and steady to win this race.
York still sits ahead by a margin of about 1,000 gold, however, and more importantly ahead by 3 turrets on the board. So we'll see whether or not that Baron does translate into more turret control for the side of Ottawa, because I feel like that's the most important thing that they've got to get back. They've won the last few team fights actually pretty well and truly, but now it's a matter of winning the map back for themselves, as they are still yet to take 2 outer turrets.
Right, and you do have to keep in mind what these compositions are going to do as the game goes forward. I didn't actually think we were going to get a chance to see this late game, but now, big grab in onto Harry Zeri.
That's quite a bit of damage, but Rek'Sai is tanky enough to make it out of there, even after the potentially disastrous Blitzcrank hook. Ace King takes a big chunk there, has to burn the ulti defensively. Not what he was hoping for. And Ottawa still gained something of an advantage off the back of a fight that looked rough.
Yeah, definitely engaging in onto Harry Zeri. I mean, Blitzcrank is a very double-edged sword kind of champion. You land a grab onto a squishy character, it's a great pick.
Is gone.
It's going to get blown up there.
Chocolate
sorry, I mean, there's not a whole lot of play-by-play. It's like, hey, that guy just died.
Yeah.
Okay, and now the second tier mid lane turret's going to go down there too. Like I said with Blitzcrank, if you get a grab onto their tank, you just give them a free initiation to start this fight, which is pretty much what happened that last time, and now this is not necessarily the fight they want to pick.
Good catch on to Ace King, and he has instantly evaporated. Now the tanks are doing some damage in the back lines here, as the rest of the team gets just murdered 1 by 1, and this is Ottawa, potentially, at least with an inhibitor, and potentially with a push to take even more than that.
Yeah, I think they can actually definitely go for the win here. Ken's going to respawn, but probably better safe than sorry. They might try to go for it. I would, just because I feel like they can at least take down a Nexus turret at this point. And yeah, that's very true. They can just go for the win. They will. 8 seconds until JK comes back up, and even Ken's forced to flash back to the fountain.
All right, 1 Nexus turret has fallen, the other swiftly to follow it, but we have got just a few seconds on the rest of the members of York, but that Nexus is dying dangerously quickly, and it goes down. That's game 2. going over to the side of Ottawa, tying up the series 1-1 and bringing us to a third match. Going into that third match, we just need a few minutes as we get the teams all ready and the casters all ready. Trust me, I certainly am ready, but we just got to get everybody into the room. Give us just a few moments, folks, and we will be right back.